hear me? Hey, everybody. Hey, yes, happy Thursday. Happy new moon. I hope that y'all are well. First time, y'all, my dog is over here acting up because he is in the crate and we not about to give him any energy, okay? Um, so I hope that y'all are well. It's been such a long time. Hey, family. It's been so long. Let me get my vibe together. Um, like my incense. This incense is from the hymn collection, hymn incense. I like hymn incense sometimes, but I don't really recommend this particular brand. Y'all know my favorite brand to recommend is always the Satya because it's all natural. Hymns incense are not all natural. Uh but I like them sometimes. Okay, hold on. And then I'm also gonna light a satya, which is the rose. I told y'all about the rose. For the wellness community, I told y'all about the rose during the new moon Zoom meeting. The rose satya incense, and they're on sale on Amazon. I think you get like a box of 12 of these packs, and it was like $9.97 or something like that. Y'all know how Amazon be having like those Walmart type prices, $9.97, $9.99. Yes, tell him to be quiet. My I have a puppy, y'all. He's 3 months now, a golden doodle. And he is very attention hungry. Okay, and right now he is in the crate because if I had him out while I was doing this live, he would be everywhere, all right, nonstop. So he's still, he's a puppy, so he's still very much active and everything. But I miss y'all so much. I missed going live. I miss talking to y'all. But so much has been happening, family, and I'm gonna update y'all on everything. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted in my story a little bit about what's going on. Also, if you're in the wellness community, I shared a little bit in the Discord, in the group chat. And then also I shared some during the New Moon Zoom meeting that we had January 30th, I want to say that was. Y'all dates is like, but yeah, so I want to share a little bit. I shared a little bit during the New Moon Zoom, but I want to update everybody on what's going on and why I have not been posted. So I haven't posted on YouTube in about, it's been over 2 weeks, definitely, since I posted last. And a lot has happened in that time. So first I'm going to talk about why I haven't been posting, and then I'm going to talk about, like healing from trauma and stuff like that, and then we'll talk about the new moon in Aquarius that's occurring today, that's peaking today. Okay, so that's hopefully the order of how it's gonna go. But y'all, we just gonna flow and go from there. It's been a while, so I might be a little rusty. You feel me? um, but okay, so I haven't posted in a couple weeks because honestly, and just keeping it a buck, and y'all know I always strive to be as transparent as possible. And my intention with being transparent is because I know that somebody else out there needs to know that someone else out there is experiencing trauma. I haven't been posting because trauma has been happening in my life. And I'm naming it trauma intentionally because that kind of goes into our overall topic today, which is healing from trauma. So, on January 23rd, I want to say, first off, January 18th, I went to my aunt and uncle house. So I live in New York. My eldest aunt and uncle, they're a couple. They live not too far from me. My aunt wanted to adopt some cats. So, I went to her house January 18th and we went to the animal shelter with my uncle and I helped them pick out kittens. I have experience with taking care of cats, so I helped them pick out some kittens and to help her bring them home, and we got the house set up and everything, came back home. Well, some things were being done to my apartment, so I needed to be out of the apartment for a couple days while everything was happening to my apartment. So January 23rd, I went and stayed with my aunt and uncle for a couple days while things was happening to my apartment. Um, I was so tired, but I was so tired because I had to move stuff around and everything. So I was so tired that when I got to my aunt and uncle house January 23rd, I fell asleep immediately. So my uncle works for the Department of Sanitation in New York City. He's a chief for the Department of Sanitation for New York City. So he's an essential worker. He's been going to work every single day since the pandemic started. He has never stopped working. He works Monday through Friday, and he comes home usually about 8 o'clock. when I got to their house on the 23rd, I was so tired that I got there at 6. I took a shower. I was asleep by 6:30. So I didn't see my uncle that night. Saturday, that I believe the 24th was a Saturday. So the 24th, I'm at their house. Me and my aunt are chilling. We're having a good time. We're watching One Night in Miami. Y'all know the Amazon Prime movie One Night in Miami. We're watching that. We're just chilling. Having a good time doing auntie niece stuff, and we go downstairs to the living room, and my uncle, he comes in the door, his usual time, 8 o'clock, and my uncle didn't look good. Like he didn't need to say a word. He didn't need to say nothing. As soon as he walked in the door, I could look in his face and tell he did not look good. So I was like, Uncle Steve, you okay? You all right? You look like you don't feel good. And he was like, I don't. And he started describing what was going on. And basically he said he feels like he has the flu. Now, mind you, my uncle works for the Department of Sanitation. It's snowing in New York City. Every year around this time, he gets the flu. So, but also in my mind, I'm like, this could be COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold up, wait a minute. This could be COVID. So immediately, for those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with lupus in 2015. Lupus is an autoimmune disease, right? So I have to do extra work to keep my immune system up there. So I take a lot of herbs. That's why, I'm so into herbs. I take a lot of different herbs, burdock root, sea moss, bladderwrack, all kind of herbs I take, right? I keep my immune system up there, but I'm also very mindful to not put myself in challenging situations, okay? So he says he doesn't feel good. I'm like, red flag, red flag. Even if it is the flu, we need to keep some distance. But also, I'm his niece. My aunt is his wife. My aunt is like, okay, go make some tea. I'm the herb lady. So she's like, go start brewing, go make some tea. I'm going to get the thermometer, get this, get that. So we start getting everything together to help take care of him, right? As we do, But at the same time, I'm not coming in direct contact with him. I'm making sure to keep my distance, but my aunt is coming in direct contact with him. That's her husband. So she's taking his temperature. She's doing all that stuff. I'm more or less just handing everything to her. Like, here goes the tea. Here's the thermometer. Here's this. Here's that. Like, I'm helping. So, moving forward, that night his temperature was 102. Me and my aunt, we gave him his tea. He got his medicine. We go upstairs and we're doing auntie niece stuff, watching more movies. We love Why Did I Get Married, Best Man Holiday. Me and my aunt watch that almost every time I come to her house, right? So, we're watching that, laughing, joking, talking. And we're having like very deep conversations about life. And she's giving me all the auntie wisdom about, how to recognize when people really love you, the value of good friendship and taking care of stuff. And the thing is, my aunt always had this thing where she would talk about like, my aunt is a fabulous woman. Okay, come on, Loopy Warrior. Yes. My aunt is a fabulous woman. So she would always, pull out her jewelry, and she had just ordered some Baccarat perfume. If anybody knows about Baccarat, it's like an expensive brand of perfume. She just ordered some Baccarat, so she was showing me her new Baccarat set. And, if anything happens to me, get this and take care of this, and this is where I keep this. And she's telling me this stuff. But that wasn't unusual for her because she had so many valuable things. Anytime she showed me something new, she would say, if something happens to me, give this to this person. If something happens to me, I want you to take care of this. Don't be selling my stuff. She would always say stuff like that, right? So I'm not thinking anything of it. But yeah, so we my uncle was 102. Me and my aunt go upstairs. We, give him some time for the medicine and stuff to set in. We watching movies, doing our auntie niece thing. About 1 a.m., I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to bed. My aunt and uncle, they have a private house. And if you live in New York, private houses, you know what it means. So it's basically down south, a private house would be considered a townhouse down south. But in New York, it's a house, but their house is 3 stories. So they have a fully finished basement. That's like an apartment, kitchen, bathroom, all of that stuff, which is where I sleep when I go. The second floor or the first floor, the basement, the first floor is the living room, kitchen, bathroom, all that. And then the upstairs is the 2 bedrooms, closet. It's a third bedroom, but they turned it into a walk-in closet, bathroom, all that stuff. So my aunt sleeps upstairs. My uncle is in the living room on the first floor, and I'm going downstairs to the basement to go to bed. So my aunt is like, all right, well, let's make sure he's okay first. So we go downstairs. This is still Saturday, 1 a.m. We go downstairs, and my aunt checks his temperature. My uncle temperature had dropped down to 98. Perfect. His temperature is 98. I'm like, okay, maybe in my mind, I'm like, maybe this ain't COVID. Maybe he's okay because his temperature is, COVID, they say it's a persistent fever. His temperature is down to 98. Cool. My uncle is a workaholic. He's a strong, very traditional old school man. When my uncle has the flu, he goes to work. He could be damn near dead, and he gonna get up and go to work. So I go to bed. Next morning we get up. My uncle is gone. He went to work, which is not abnormal because his temperature was down. So we're not concerned. Fast forward to Saturday night, he comes home and he still does not feel good. So I'm like, okay, now we definitely alarmed. Definitely alarmed. Uncle Steve, you need to go get tested. You need to get tested for COVID. Keeping my distance. Fast forward, Sunday, still not feeling good. He decides he's going to go get tested. Okay, I'm going home. Early Monday, I got my stuff. I went home. My uncle went and got tested. Monday night, both me and my aunt start not feeling well. We're like, I start feeling like I have like mild cold symptoms. My aunt starts feeling like she has a cold, but she immediately knows. She's like, I think he got COVID and he gave it to us. I'm like, no, I don't think that's what it is. I was like, I got the lupus. If he has a cold, it's not unlikely for me to get it because it's not. Once again, lupus is an autoimmune disease. So if I'm next to somebody who has a cold, if you cough, you sneeze directly on me, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get that cold, which is why, when I was working with young kids, like middle school or elementary, y'all teach y'all kids to cover y'all damn mouth, okay? Because that was one of the things that would always affect me, was the fact that when I was working with young children, I was constantly having colds and stuff like that because that's how sensitive my immune system is due to the lupus. So anyway, she's like, I think he got COVID and he gave it to us. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's what it is. So come on, lupus warriors, I see y'all. But yeah, Wednesday, my aunt texted me and she said, which I believe it was the 26th. She said, because I went back and looked at all the text messages to track the journey. So on January 26th, my aunt said, Steve, who's my uncle, tested positive for COVID. You need to go get tested. And then she said, I'm very sick. This is January 26th, y'all. By then, my mild cold symptoms are very clear. Fast forward, so in New York City, when somebody tests positive for COVID, they do you got to get in contact with the Department of Health, the tracing center. So my uncle had put us down on his tracing list as people he'd been in contact with. They ended up, they call you, they send you what they call a take care package. In the take care package, it's a bunch of PPE, thermometer, I forget what it's called, but the thing that you put on your finger to test your heart rate, blood pressure, all that stuff. And then there's a self COVID test that they send you that you have to take it. You swab yourself, put it in the thing. They put it in the FedEx package. You call FedEx to pick it up. It gets overnighted and you basically give yourself your own COVID test and they call you with the results. So they sent that. And long story short, me and my aunt both tested positive for COVID. So I tested positive for COVID. My aunt tested positive for COVID. And the journey begins of dealing with COVID. For me, my symptoms it started as mild cold symptoms where, I just had like a dry cough, a persistent headache that was no game. I did have a fever, and my fever was going between 101 to 102 consistently, nonstop. No matter what I was taking, the fever would not break, the headache would not go away, and then a lot of chills and body aches. Anybody who knows me, I keep my house remains between 65 to 70 degrees. I like it cold, so I keep my house between 65 to 70. I had chills so bad, my heat was on 85. My heat consistently 85, and I had on thermals and fleece and all of that. That's how cold I was constantly. And those were my symptoms in the beginning. Then my symptoms progressed. And the craziest one that I started having was nosebleeds. My nose was bleeding for almost 2 days straight. Um, Non-stop. Like, and I'm not talking about like pouring blood, but like dripping, like to where if I didn't wipe it and I laid down, like it was running out. So I had to keep wiping my nose, keep wiping my nose, like, paper towel. Got to keep wiping my nose because I was having persistent nosebleeds. So that was like the weirdest symptom. But with the Department of Health up here, if you test positive, they call you every day. That's why they send you to take care package, because you have to take your temperature and heart rate every day, and they call you and track your symptoms and stuff. So they basically said that the nosebleeds were a direct cause of the fever, and because my body temperature was so high, I needed to basically like bring my body temperature down. So even though I had chills, cut the heat off and all that stuff. But that was like my craziest symptom. That lasted for a couple days, and then my symptoms started going back down. Now, I also want to say this. I take a lot of herbs, y'all. I take a lot of herbs. Okay, a lot every day. When I say a lot of herbs, like I said earlier, sea moss, bladderwrack, burdock root, all of that. I take a lot of herbs every single day. When I tested positive, I doubled up on my herbs. So I had Seymour. Shout out to Carlin Nafis from the wellness community. She makes a unique blend, a specialized Seymour's for your needs. So I'm taking the Seymour's blend that she sent me. I'm also taking my Dr. Savy Seymour's. I was doubling up. So I'm not playing. So within a week, I start feeling better. But my aunt, she kept saying she's very sick. Me and my uncle both. My uncle, my uncle works out. He eats healthy and stuff like that. He also, he's good. So he had like mild cold symptoms. I had mild cold symptoms. Like I said, the worst it got for me was the fever, the bloody nose. The worst it got for my uncle was like he has asthma. So like chest congestion and, like wheezing. Because also he has asthma. But my aunt, she just kept saying she was very sick. Mind you, my uncle tested positive on the 26th. Time is progressing. Day after day, me and my aunt talking every day. We're checking on each other. How you doing? How you feeling? She just kept saying like she has chills, body aches. She couldn't get out the bed. She wasn't showering because she couldn't move. She was in pain. So I'm like, okay, auntie, like take care of yourself. This is what do this, do that. But also my aunt didn't want any, some people when they don't feel well, some people don't want you to tell them what to do. They want to figure it out for themselves, or they just don't want to hear all of that. And my aunt was very expressive that like, look, I don't want to hear all your remedies and stuff right now. Like, I'm taking vitamin C, I'm taking zinc, I gave her some Seymour's from Carlin. She was like, I'm taking the Seymour's. I don't want to hear nothing else. Like, I'm telling you how I feel. Like, just let me be. So I respected that after a while. But yeah, she just started going downhill, saying that she, her breathing was shallow and all of that. I ended up texting her because I asked her on a check-in February 1st. I said, auntie, how you feeling? And she kept, by February 1st, I'm starting to feel better. Still got the fever, still got the headache. But I said, auntie, how you feeling? And she said, I'm very sick. I said, at what point would you go to the hospital? Because at this point, if you won't listen to me, you don't want me to come take care of you, you don't want, at what point would you go to the hospital? And her response was, I don't want to die alone in the hospital. Now, a little flashback, when COVID first hit, March, my aunt's best friend, who we grew up with, much love to Miss Tina, at that time, I was at my aunt's house. 2 weeks later, Miss Tina was dead from COVID. That's how fast it hit. My aunt does nails. So Miss Tina, we was at my aunt's house. Miss Tina came to my aunt's house to get her nails done. We talking, they both giving me that elder wisdom and all of that stuff. And Miss Tina went, after she left my aunt's house, she went over to ShopRite, to the grocery store, so she could pack up on some stuff because they were saying we might need to quarantine. 2 weeks later, Miss Tina was dead. She caught COVID from going to the grocery store after she left my aunt's house. And she was gone. And she passed away in the hospital by herself. my aunt would always say, if I ever get COVID, I'm not dying in the hospital by myself. I don't want to die in the hospital alone. So February 1st, when I asked her, like, what would it take for you to go to the hospital? Because she's saying she don't feel good. Her breathing is low. What would it take? Her response was, I don't want to die in the hospital alone. Okay, cool. But I want you to get checked out. She was like, I'll be okay. Okay. I said, Auntie, you're not gonna die. You'll be okay. Think healing thoughts. I love you. All of that. February 2nd, the next text message I get the next day, I'm going to the hospital. My heart rate dropped down because, mind you, we got the heart monitor machine that they sent in the Take Care package. Her heart rate dropped down, dangerously low. So my uncle calls 911. February 2nd, my aunt is in the hospital. February 3rd, they said I have pneumonia from the COVID. They transferred me to the ICU COVID unit in the city in Manhattan. If you live in New York, so we have the 5 boroughs. We live in Brooklyn. Everybody in Brooklyn refers to Manhattan as the city. So she's like, they're gonna transfer me to the hospital in the city. So I'm like, okay, I want to come up there. They not gonna let me come up there, because of the COVID thing. The COVID unit is shut down. I went up to the hospital when she was in Brooklyn on the 2nd, and they won't even let you even get to that wing of the hospital, right? So I was like, they're not gonna let me come up there to the city. I was like, please, just stay in contact with me. I want to talk every day, yada, yada, yada. This February 3rd, now they transfer her to the city. February 4th, we checking in. Hey, Auntie, how you doing? She seems okay. She's like laughing and joking. My birthday is February 10th. My birthday was yesterday. So she's talking about how, she's like, you're going to be in quarantine for your birthday. It's my 30th birthday. She's like, normally everybody know for my birthday, I'm always out the country. I'm traveling. I'm doing something. She's like, it's all right because you ain't going to be able to go nowhere anyway. You'll be all right. And she's like laughing and joking. So I'm like, I'm glad you still got your sense of humor, Auntie. That's good. I hope you get better. That night, her heart rate dropped down. So they gave her a breathing treatment. And she said that, she said her heart rate dropped down. She was in danger. They're giving her the breathing treatment. As they're giving her the heavy duty breathing treatment, her heart rate goes back up to 98. So, which is good. So I'm like, okay, it's good. I'm glad it's working. She's texted me. She sent me videos of her on the breathing machine and all of that stuff. February 5th, they put her on a ventilator, but she's still conscious. Whatever they gave her had caused her face to swell up. And a part of the frustration for me was the fact that, my aunt and uncle is Jehovah's Witness. So they, anybody who's Jehovah's Witness, Jehovah's Witnesses, they have like certain guidelines and certain things that they don't do. Like they don't get blood transfusions and stuff like that. So my aunt, I believe that's a part of the reason why she was hesitant to give the doctors my number, because I'm even though I will respect her wishes, but I think she was concerned that I would not abide by their guidelines when it came to her care. But anyway, she didn't give the doctors my number. My uncle didn't give the doctors my number. So I'm not able to talk to the doctor to hear like what's going on. What medicine are they giving her? She's just sending me videos and stuff of the treatments and all of that stuff, but I don't know the names or nothing. And I'm very much like, I want to know everything. So she sent me a video. They had put her on a heavy breathing machine and it caused her face to like swell up like 2 times its size. And I'm like, well, you must be allergic to it. What's going on? I want to talk to the doctor. She's like, I'm going to be okay. They said I'll be here for 5 more days and, I'll be home soon. I'm like, all right, Auntie, I love you. Take care of yourself. Da, da, da. The next day, she sends me a text message and she says they want to incubate me. She said incubate. She meant intubate. She said they want to incubate me. I'm afraid. Take care of my jewelry and clothes. So I'm like, what? Incubate you? What you mean? Like, what's going on? What's happening? So I'm calling her. When I called her, somebody picked up the phone, but they're not saying nothing. All I hear is machines in the background. So I'm like, Auntie, is this you? I love you. Like, what's going on? Are you okay? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I love you, Auntie. I'm like, let me talk to the doctor. Please give the phone to the doctor. If this is the doctor, I'm telling them who I am. I'm like, somebody please just say something, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward, I called my uncle because the phone hung up. I'm calling the phone back. Nobody's answering the phone. So I called my uncle immediately. My uncle, he's trying to contact the doctors. It's a lot happening, which another part of the frustration is that because the COVID unit is closed down, you can't go up there. They're so busy and so overwhelmed that there's not good communication between doctors and family. So you really have no idea of what's happening to your family member, right? So, boom. Call my uncle. He's like, I'm trying to contact the doctor. I don't know what's going on. Finally, he gets in contact with the doctor. By the time he calls me back, he's like, they said that they had to intubate her, and her heart rate dropped down dangerously low. She's not getting enough oxygen. He said they gave me the opportunity to FaceTime her. I said a prayer with her. She started crying, and she's fully intubated now. Once again, at the time, I didn't know what the hell intubated meant. I'm thinking that they just put her on like a stronger ventilator. She won't be able to talk. Basically, they had to put her in a medically induced coma. Apparently, they said, I talked to the doctor, they said that her lungs, because they was working so hard, her lungs started to shut down. She wasn't getting enough oxygen. Her heart started shutting down. Essentially, her organs started failing. Her main organs started failing. So they put her in a medically induced coma. She has tubes and stuff, you know, and all of that. And she's basically on life support. The machine is breathing for her. It's called the inhaled nitric oxide medically induced coma they put her on. This was February 7th. February 8th, the morning of February 8th, my uncle calls me and he said they said that my aunt has 2 days to live. And then he said a lot of other things that really just like knocked me off my feet. Okay. Regarding, you know, just, I'm not going to go in detail about that, but, you know, just like regarding their connection, their relationship, and all kind of stuff. My aunt and my uncle have been married for 32 years, been together even longer than that, married before I was born. So a lot, I get the call. They said your aunt has a couple days to live. This is what we gonna do. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked. Okay, this is February 8th. Mind you, my birthday is February 10th. So they trying to say that my aunt has 2 days to live, and basically she's supposed to die on my birthday. Shocked. Okay, this is a woman that I was just laying in a bed with her not even 2 weeks ago. Okay, this is a woman who was fine. We cooking, talking, laughing, cleaning. I'm helping her put stuff together. Like I said, on the 18th, she just adopted the cat. So she had ordered a crate, and the crate came when I was there that weekend. So I'm helping her put the crate together and all kind of stuff. Like, you know, that we you know, building stuff and repairing. My aunt is like, you know, she's very homely DIY type of person, you know, so we reupholstering, helping her reupholster a chair, and we moving furniture and all, everything was fine. You know what I'm saying? To you saying my aunt got 2 days to live, what do you mean? What do you mean? Huh? Like what? You know, so I was in shock. As of right now, as of today, and mind you, the whole time I still personally couldn't talk to the doctor. So I still don't understand, why did y'all have to intubate her? What's happening to her organs? Everything I'm finding out about the organs and stuff, I just found out the day before yesterday. When I called up there for February 9th, I had to call and act like I was her daughter, all kind of stuff. I had to finesse to be able to talk to the doctors and get the update myself. You know what I'm saying? I had to put on that finesse. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed to know. And my uncle, he doesn't understand medical jargon, and this is what he said verbatim. He doesn't understand medical jargon, so he doesn't know what's happening. You know, so he couldn't really explain and articulate what was going on. And so I called up there, got all the information, what's happening with her, best case scenario, worst case scenario, and why are they saying 2 days left. Basically what they were saying was like, with the medically induced coma, the inhaled nitric oxide that they have to give her is very harsh on the body, and her lungs essentially are dead. Her heart is not getting she's not getting enough oxygen to the brain. Her heart is working extra hard as a pump. Her heart is giving out. They had to put yesterday. They had to put a stent to be able to keep her, because her heart is not even responding to the nitric oxide and all of that stuff. So they had to put a stent in there to pump medicine directly to her heart, just so that she could even still respond to the machine. Right, which is what we found out day before yesterday on the 9th. The blessing is, well, on the 9th, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I was through. And the reason I was through on the 9th was because I didn't know nothing. I didn't know anything. So I don't even understand why this is happening, how this is happening, like what is going on, like what's happening. So on the 9th, I was bought a lot much more peace. A lot much more. Y'all get it. That's how much peace I was bought. A lot much more peace. Um, because I was able to talk to the doctor myself and hear what's going on. And on top of that, they allowed us to Zoom with her. Because there is no visitation in the hospital. Now what they're doing is Zoom visitation. So the nurse basically set up an iPad and they set it up in the room and they Zoom. We were able to have a Zoom. So I had my brother and my sister and my nieces join, and my sister-in-law joined, and we were all able to just play her favorite music and talk to her for 30 minutes. So it's like we was in the room with her and we were able to tell her how much we love her and we care about her, and just speak life into her and healing energy into her and all of that good stuff. So that happened at 11:01. I have the video. 11:01, February 9th, is when we did the Zoom. We were able to play her Al Green and her Stephanie Mills. My aunt loves Al Green, Stephanie Mills, all that stuff. So we were able to play her music for her and just vibe and see her. So that brought me a lot more peace. So I went into my birthday, February 10th, yesterday. I went into my birthday feeling much more at peace and very grateful that we were able to have that Zoom meeting with her. But this has been a traumatic situation, y'all. Okay? And I'm going to go in detail. I'm sorry, y'all. Gotta wipe my nose. I'm going to go in detail about why this has been so traumatic. As you can tell, basically from what I just explained, of course, that's trauma within itself. But if you haven't been followed, thank y'all so much for the birthday love, and I'm reading your comments as best I can. Thank you for the birthday love. Thank you for y'all condolences and stuff. I appreciate y'all. Yes, precious video to have. Imagine Fitness, definitely a precious video to have. I recorded almost the whole Zoom meeting. I took a lot of pictures and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's this whole situation is traumatic because January 2020, my great aunt passed away. My great aunt transitioned. April 2020, another great aunt transitioned. September 2020, my grandfather transitioned. And all three of those passings were unexpected. All three elders, all of my grandmother's siblings are gone. And my grandmother passed away in 89. All of her siblings are gone. My grandfather, none of them were sick. None of them, it's not like they had a long-term, like an illness or nothing like that. Like, they were elders, they were older, but they were healthy. They were okay. All of them. And gone. January, April, September. When my grandfather passed in September, y'all know I did a video on grief and like how we were processing that. That was he passed away September 23rd, 2020. Suddenly, shockingly, I'm typing up the newsletter for the wellness community. That was September 23rd. I was typing up the October newsletter for the wellness community, laying in my bed. My aunt who's in the hospital now calls me and says, Daddy passed away. I'm in shock. A lot of trauma happened from my grandfather's passing. They lost my grandfather's ashes. Lost his ashes. Okay, we had him cremated as his wishes. They lost his ashes. My grandfather's ashes just was returned to us in December of 2020. So from September 2020 to December 2020, they couldn't find my grandfather's ashes. December, we just got his ashes back. So we kind of just got some closure from my grandfather's passing. We February 2021, and my aunt is on life support. So I would be lying to y'all if I didn't name this as trauma. This shit is crazy. Okay? This is a huge shift for my family. My aunt is like my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all know I don't have a relationship with my mother. My aunt has always been my person, especially since I've been here in New York. Like, as I said, things was happening in my apartment. I needed to be out of my apartment for a couple days. I'm going to stay at my aunt's house. You know what I'm saying? Me and my aunt talked almost every day. Almost every day. So I would be lying if I did not say that this shit is a traumatic situation. From the passings back to back to suddenly, again, I'm just laying in the bed with this lady, and now not even 2 weeks later, you telling me she got 2 days to live. What you mean? And thankfully, my aunt is still holding on. You know, she's still pressing forward. They said she has 2 days to live. Her last day of life was supposed to be my birthday, February 10th. We are now at February 11th, and my aunt is still holding on. You know, so God's will be done. And I'm very grateful for that. But what I really want to talk about, family, is the importance of healing as trauma occurs. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know I'm constantly talking about holistic wellness and talking about healing and all of that stuff, right? And oftentimes we don't start healing until after the trauma. Nah. We have to start healing as the trauma is occurring, because if you wait too long, what ends up happening is you have trauma that happens. You don't recognize it as trauma. When you don't recognize trauma as trauma, you don't realize how it's affecting your life, how it's affecting your mindset, how it's affecting how you manifest, how it's affecting your emotions, how it's affecting your spiritual. You don't realize that if you don't name this as trauma. So when you're going through something, if you don't name that as trauma, you not even recognizing how what you're going through is holistically affecting you, right? And then because you don't recognize how it's holistically affecting you, you're not going to recognize the coping mechanisms that you have created or that you're going to create to deal with how it's affecting you. And because you have not recognized how it's affecting you, those coping mechanisms that you come up with are going to be unhealthy coping mechanisms. They're not going to be centered in wellness because you have not even named your trauma as trauma. So you can't even name that it's affecting your wellness. So when you're trying to still balance and keep going and acting like shit is all good, you're creating unhealthy coping mechanisms for your trauma. Those unhealthy coping mechanisms are not going to serve you well in the long term. For right now, they may help you deal with what's going on. They may help you get over it. They may help you keep going to work and keep producing content and keep doing what you got to do. They may help you do that. They may be good for this moment, but in the long term, they are not going to serve your wellness. So unhealthy coping mechanisms looks like, and I'm going to speak for myself of what I used to do. I used to emotionally detach. I used to just shut down. Like, all right, boom. All right, so we just got to handle this business. We got to keep going. We got to get this done for the sake of still moving, for the sake of keeping it going. I had a cousin who passed away in 2019. And when he passed away, business had to be handled. When my grandfather passed away, business had to be handled. You know, so when you have to move like that and you got to keep going, the easy thing to do is to emotionally detach, and I'll deal with how I feel later. But this business got to get done. I got to work. This content got to come. We got to make this happen. Boom, 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 boom. Let's emotionally disconnect. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. Because when those emotions do hit you, they're going to hit. You feel me? Another unhealthy coping mechanism that some people do is they go into shutdown mode. They become consumed by their emotions, and it turns into depression sometimes. It turns into extreme anxiety sometimes, and a lot of other, mental health concerning issues. So that's also not a healthy coping mechanism. Some people choose to distract. They will distract themselves, right? So they will avoid what's actually going on. They're not dealing with the business. They're not dealing with the emotions. They're acting like it's not happening. That's an unhealthy coping mechanism. Long story short, no matter what unhealthy coping mechanism you come up with, yeah, it may get you through this moment, but in the long term, that's not going to serve you well, because you still going to have to go back and deal with it, because that unhealthy coping mechanism is going to have negative effects on your life, on your relationships, on how you're manifesting, what you're manifesting, right? So you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to deal with those unhealthy coping mechanisms, which then means that you're going to have to go back and deal with the trauma that caused it. So you're going to have to deal with the trauma anyway. As opposed to doing that, heal as trauma is happening. Heal as trauma is occurring. We all have to deal with some sort of trauma. You can't avoid trauma. You can't. This is trauma what I'm going through right now and what's been happening. What could I personally have done to avoid 3 elders passing in 2020? My aunt, my uncle coming home having COVID. My uncle, once again, he's an essential worker. He has to go to work. He can't, it's nothing that he could have done about that. He didn't mean it. It wasn't intentional. My aunt and myself, we get COVID. Thankfully, I am doing well. I'm much better. My aunt is not doing well. It's nothing that could have been done. Trauma happens to everyone. So we are all included in this conversation because some trauma has happened to you. More trauma will happen to you. And this is not speaking negativity. This is speaking reality. That's a part of life. I did a video before on like how to stay positive, or myths about staying positive. And one of the myths about staying positive, and something people often do, is they lose touch with reality. With the intention of staying positive, they lose touch with reality that negative shit will happen. Negativity, negative things will occur. That's just reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, some shit is going to happen. Death is going to happen. Loss is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So we will all have to endure some trauma in the future. In order to maintain wellness, you have to heal as the trauma is occurring. And in order to do that, let's talk about how to heal as the trauma is occurring. Step 1, you have to name it as trauma. You have to recognize that this that's happening to you right now is trauma. This is life shifting. This is mindset shifting. This is your holistic wellness. Some aspect of it, or all aspects of it, is affected by what's occurring. That's how I define trauma. Anything that has a negative effect on your holistic wellness, to me, is trauma. Whether if it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. Anything that has an effect on your holistic wellness is some sort of trauma. If you get into a car accident and you have a body injury, that's trauma. If you have to deal with some sort of mental abuse or something like that, that's trauma. If you have a situation that happens in your church or in your spiritual safe house and it causes you to feel spiritually disconnected, that's church trauma. That's trauma. Anything that has an effect on any aspect of your holistic wellness is trauma. So in order to heal from trauma as it's occurring, you have to name it. And in order to be able to name it as trauma, you have to do holistic wellness checks on yourself. I talked about this in a video on my Instagram, and I did that video from experience, because in that day, the day before, when everything was happening to my aunt, I had to ask myself, how do you feel? As I told y'all in the past, I used to, a coping mechanism that I had was emotional detachment. Growing up with a lot of trauma, growing up with a lot of abuse, in order to survive that, I had to emotionally detach, right? So I used to struggle with emotional detachment, where I didn't feel my feelings. I wasn't connected to my feelings. I got videos on that also, like what that was like for me, and how I dealt with that. But something I constantly do now is I do holistic wellness check-ins on myself, and I ask myself, how do you feel? Physically, how do you feel? Mentally, how do you feel? What are you thinking? Spiritually, how do you feel? Emotionally, how do you feel? I constantly ask myself that. So I was doing a holistic wellness check on myself and asking myself, how do I feel? Because I'm the person in my family who, I'm like the center. So I'm checking on my uncle, making sure my uncle is okay. I'm keeping my brother and sister aware because they live down south. So I'm keeping them aware of what's going on and keeping them in the loop and keeping them updated, making sure they're good and what's going on, and making sure that everything else and everybody else is okay. I had to check on me and ask myself, how do you feel? And when I did my check-in, I realized that, like, yo, this is trauma, because this is affecting me, because immediately I start thinking about my grandfather. Like I said, we just kind of wrapped up that situation. I literally, right here on my desk, I have the stack of pictures that I got from my grandfather's house when we cleaned out his house when he passed. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's on my desk right now. Like I haven't even finished going through all of his stuff. So as I'm doing the check-in with myself, I'm looking at the stuff from my grandfather, which triggers all those feelings from the passings of 2020. So doing a holistic wellness check-in is how I was able to recognize that this is trauma that's happening right now. This is difficult. I feel this way, which was not good. I'm thinking these thoughts, which was not good. Honestly, what I was feeling alone. I was feeling uncertain and unaware of, like, what, why, like, why is this happening? What's going on? Like, what is it? Something that am I not manifesting something right? Am I not praying for something right? Like, what's happening? Like, those are thoughts that I was thinking, real shit. Like, when stuff happens, the first thing you start doing is, I start being introspective. I'm wondering, like, what am I doing? Am I not lighting enough candles? Did I feed the goon? Am I giving offerings right? Like, what's happening? You feel me? Like, what's going on? These are all the things that I'm thinking, which I'm able to recognize that these are not healthy thoughts, because this is trauma. You know what I'm saying? This is trauma that's happening. Physically, how am I feeling? I still was having, and still am having, physical effects of COVID. So at that time, I was still having a fever. My nosebleeds had just stopped. When I was doing this holistic wellness check-in, my nosebleeds had just stopped. I was still having the dry cough. I was still having a lot of mental, like, confusion, because of course the COVID triggered a lupus episode, which a part of the lupus episode, all my loopies know, is called lupus brain, where you just get, like, mental fog. It feels like you're in a fog. I was just kind of coming up out of that fog of confusion, not being able to process stuff, like, as quickly as I am normally able to process. So I was just coming out of that. So physically, I was not feeling well. Mentally, I was not centered in wellness, because I was not having my usual positive thoughts and all of that stuff. Spiritually, I was well spiritually. I was still spiritually connected. Felt very connected to my ancestors, by Goon, just God, universe. I was spiritually okay, but my mental, physical, and emotional was not well. And I was able to recognize that. So I named that as trauma. This that's happening right now is trauma. Now, what am I going to do? Now that I know that, thank you. You said make sure you take your herbs. Thank you. I appreciate that. I told you I've been taking a lot of herbs. I appreciate that reminder. I had to recognize that, once again, that this is trauma. Everything that was happening, everything that is happening is trauma that's going on. And how am I going to deal with it? What am I going to do about this? And what I realized is that, it's not over. My aunt is still in the hospital, so it's still happening. I have to keep doing holistic wellness check-ins on myself. I needed to take some time to process. But in taking time to process what's happening, because I was talking to a sister of mine, Imani. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know who Imani is. I was talking to Imani, and I was just telling her, like, sis, I'm still processing. I'm still processing. Like, I'm still processing what's going on. Especially, like, I can't go in detail, but the conversation with my uncle, and all the revelations that came from that shit knocked me off my feet. Okay. Um, so I'm still processing and taking time to process all of that. No, that's not who Imani is. Imani Latifa or Igichi. That's who Imani is. My friend. She's been on my channel a couple times in other videos. But yeah, just really like just processing everything that's happening. So ways that I'm dealing with this trauma, recognizing it as trauma, processing it as it happens, but really extracting the lessons. That's my main recommendation. Extract the lessons. What am I learning from this? What am I learning from this trauma? What am I learning from what's happening right now? What am I learning? I had to really, really ask myself that. What am I learning from this? I'm sorry, I'm getting more tissue because I gotta blow my nose. Okay. But what am I learning from this? A couple things, a couple lessons that I want to share, and I talked about this in my Instagram story a little bit. One of the things that I learned is the value of cherishing your elders while you have them. Cherish your elders while you have them. Okay? Even though every transition from both my great aunts, my grandfather, and my aunt who's on life support right now, in this situation, I have no regrets. I have no regrets, not a single regret, because I can go back in my phone, I can go back in my journal, and go back in my memory of times, conversations that I told them thank you, that I loved on them, that I honored them, that I showed them respect, lessons I learned from them. Every time they speak, I listen. Every time they do something, I'm taking notes. I honored my elder. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you so much. I honor my elders with everything I have in me. I honor my elders. I respect my elders. I go to them all the time. I listen to them all the time. My granddaddy called. I'm taking notes. I'm asking my granddaddy 1,000 questions. As I said, me and my aunt was just laying in the bed. We was watching One Night in Miami. And she was telling me, my aunt is 67. She was born 1954. If you haven't watched One Night in Miami yet, it's about Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Malcolm X, and it's somebody I'm missing. Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Malcolm X. Who's the other person, y'all? Sam Cooke. Who all four of them they spent a night in Miami at a hotel at the Hampton House. And everything that transpires. So my aunt, she starts telling me what she remembers from that time, what she remembers about Sam Cooke being killed, what she remembers about the day Malcolm X was killed, and her being a little girl from that perspective. Malcolm X was killed in 1965. I want to say he was killed 1965. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was 63 or 65. I want to say it was 65. Martin Luther King was 68. But at that time, my aunt was a little girl, and she's speaking about her perspective of the 60s and everything that happened in the 60s, and how it was such a trying time for Black people, and what she remembers about the news, and how when people 65, thank you, and how she, people responded when Malcolm X was killed. She remembered what the streets of New York was like from her little girl perspective, and I was just listening, and I'm taking it in, and I'm asking questions. I got so many pictures of me. Like I said, my aunt is a fabulous woman. She's a diva, honey, okay? So I got so many pictures of me with her jewelry on, watches and rings, her wedding ring and all that stuff. She would always when I was there, she had just got her Baccarat set delivered. She was like, you spray this Baccarat, see how it settles in your skin. This is how you wear perfume, and this is what you do. My aunt was a housewife, so growing up, this was our usual from when I was a little girl. My aunt she's the aunt who when I was little, she made me watch Lady Sings the Blues, Sparkle, Selena, all the old movie, this is who she made me fall in love with Billie Holiday. She made me fall in love with Sam Cooke. She told the Temptations, and she would tell me these stories. If you live in New York, you know about Motown Cafe. She took me to Motown Cafe when I was young, and she taught me how to bake cakes and cookies from scratch. And when you become a wife, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you take care of your husband, but this is how you take care of yourself as a woman so you could be a good wife and exfoliate your skin and polish your nail, all that auntie stuff. And she kept that going my whole life, clearly, because my last weekend I spent with her, we laying in the bed watching movies, trying on her jewelry, her perfume, and all of that. So it never ended. And my aunt knew, she knows that I love her. My granddaddy knows that I love him. I have videos, photos, like, cherish your elders while you have them. Ask them 1,000 questions. What are your memories while they're here and they're living? What are your memories with them? You know, what stories do you hold on to? What lessons, what wisdom, what was their childhood like? Ask your grandparents, your great aunts, your older cousins, what was their childhood like? What's their story? What can you learn from their life? What have you learned from their life? You know, I have no regrets. None. None. So even though their transitions were sudden, please, family, please, if you don't learn nothing else from this situation that I'm going through, cherish your elders, even when you don't agree with them. Let me tell you, my aunt was not an easy woman. Okay, I'm not just like my grandfather. I told y'all when I did the video about my grandfather was not an easy man. My grandfather, born 1933 in Augusta, Georgia. Okay, he was born outside of Augusta, Georgia, but he grew up in Augusta, Georgia. My grandfather, old Southern man, went through a lot, lived through Jim Crow era, you know, saw hangings, saw lynchings, all kind of. My grandfather went through a lot. He became an alcoholic, was very abusive to his children. I'm talking about bone-breaking abusive. My aunt who's in the hospital right now, he broke her arm, you know, like that type of abusive. In his older age, of course, he had mellowed out and stuff. So I didn't have that experience with him, but his children did. And we, as the grandchildren, we had to deal with the trauma of the experiences that they had with them, which a lot of that explains my relationship with my mother and the abuse and all of that stuff. And we, you know, so I'm aware. My aunt was not an easy woman because she had that trauma from my grandfather. So she wasn't always nice. She didn't know how to, she wasn't affectionate. You know, her way of showing love was not hugs and kisses. She didn't like physical touch. She didn't, you know, she didn't know how to properly express her emotions. She was very blunt and could be hurtful. You know, I had brought a friend to her house one time, and my friend was a big girl, and my aunt is a big woman too. But you know, my aunt is a conservative, modest. You know, always been that way, and she told my friend had on some shorts, and she basically told her, "You too big to be wearing them shorts with them fat legs." That's what, you know, my aunt is that. She was that type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like she ain't got no problem hurting your feelings, okay? She ain't got no problem telling you that you don't look cute. That ugly girl. You know. So my point is, your elders may not always be the nicest people. They may not be the most respectful people. They may not be the most loving people. You may not always agree with them, but there's lessons you can learn from them. Listen to their stories. Listen to their stories. Ask them questions. That mean, nasty elder that you have in your family, they went through some shit. How did they get to this point? How? And not to say that you have to accept abuse. I'm not saying that you have to accept abuse, because one thing about me and my aunt, and the reason we had such a good relationship, was because I don't tolerate that shit. Me and my granddaddy had a great relationship because I don't tolerate. You ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way. You ain't gonna say anything to me. You got one time, I'm gonna let you slide. Second time, I'm gonna check your ass. Don't talk to me like that. And I'm gonna respectfully check your ass. When you say, and this is how I respectfully check, because I do self-check-ins. So I name my feelings to myself so that I can articulate them. So I'm able to say, Auntie, when you say this to me, that makes me feel like this, and I don't like that. Because my aunt loves me, She ain't gonna apologize. She's not gonna say sorry, but she's going to change her behavior. That's what people who love you, that's what they do. That's what they do. My aunt went through her own shit. So she ain't gonna apologize. She don't know how to apologize. She very rarely would say sorry. She has in the past, but she very rarely would say sorry. But she will change her behavior. I have no with my aunt, my grandfather, I had no problem expressing, you cannot talk to me like that. I will not tolerate this treatment. That does not make me feel good. So our relationship always remained strong, and we didn't have falling outs because I would express how I felt, and because they love me, they don't want to hurt me. They don't want me to be hurt. Oftentimes, especially with our elders, we're taught to be respectful, and we think that that means that we just got to tolerate their shit, and you don't. You can respectfully check your elders. So I would respectfully check them. They would respond well, and we would love on each other, so we were able to maintain our great relationship. Absolutely. Don't let it pile up in that moment. Exactly. And the thing is, we remained well because we had that balance with each other. We had that balance of at the end of the day, we both knew that we loved each other, and that was it. So if you have elders in your family, even if they're hard, even if they're not emotional, even if they're not nice, love on them, listen to them, take a lot of pictures, record a lot of videos. I have a very short video that I'm going to share because I was always trying to get my aunt to do a video for my YouTube channel. And towards the end, she had agreed to it, but my aunt, of course, is a diva. So she wanted to have a full face of makeup and she was like, I got to do my face. I got to make sure I look cute. I'm like, Auntie, it's only going to be from chest up. So what? She got sister locks. I want to make sure my locks look good. And I got to make sure I got a fresh retight. So we never was able to get the video done because she always, she always has to be a diva, but we did a practice video. So I do have a video where I asked my aunt 5 lessons that you would share with a young woman in her 20s. That's the question I posed to her. So she has 5 lessons that she did share for young women in her 20s. And I will post that video, one day I'll post it. But I have videos, I have photos, I have all of that. Get those things from your elders because you will cherish them. Even now with my aunt is in the hospital, I'm going back through our text message thread. I'm going back through all the photos. Every time, I love you, Auntie. I love you, Auntie. I love you, Auntie. I love you too. All of the I love yous, all of those thank yous. Like I told you, January 18th, she wanted to get some cats. So on the 18th, we went to the animal shelter and I helped her and my uncle pick out cats and help them get the house together and stuff and prepare for the kittens and all of that. And when I got home that evening, I had took picture. That's the last photo I have of her is her and my uncle holding their new kittens. And I had sent her the photo. And she said, thank you for all your help. I said, anytime, I love you. That's the relationship we have. And that's the stuff that you go back to. Okay, so get those with your elders. Cherish that with your elders. Have those, please. If right now, if you have discord with an elder in your family, squash that shit. In that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay? It's not worth it. End it. And ending it, once again, does not mean that you have to tolerate the bullshit. It means that you can respectfully check them by expressing how you feel and then move forward. Move forward, okay? Please. So that's the lesson. And then the last lesson I want to share is for yourself. As you are experiencing trauma, heal as the trauma is occurring. Do holistic wellness check-ins on yourself. Ask yourself how you are feeling. What lessons are you learning from this situation? Write everything down. Write it down. Document it. Talk to people. I've been able to talk to my friends, Imani's mom, Mama Sheila, me and her have had conversations and, reach out to people. You don't have to deal with trauma on your own. Hopefully you are surrounded by somebody who loves you. And if you're not, then you got to pick a new tribe. Thankfully, I've been blessed over the years to cultivate a beautiful tribe. Joy, Kelly, Dee, Imani. I can name so many friends. My friend Dre, so many people, Marquis, who we are having these conversations. And me and my friend Marquis, the night that I got February 8th, when I got the news that they said my aunt only has 2 days to live. Me and my friend Marquis was on the phone for until 4 o'clock that morning. Me and her got off the phone 4 o'clock, at 4:30. I went to sleep for a couple hours. My sister was calling me by 7. Me and my sister on the phone, so I'm able to talk to people and express how I feel and laugh. Joke and play all day. Marquis, I ain't gonna tell you business, girl, but we had a lace front situation where we was just able to crack jokes and laugh. You need that. So as you are dealing with shit, reach out to your people. Don't just keep it to yourself. And people who love you, you ain't gotta beg. They know when you going through some shit. My tribe knew because I wasn't being my usual self. I wasn't in the group chat every day, and I wasn't, I'm so much is happening so fast, so I ain't got time to be in the group chat. I ain't got time to be, sitting. I'm always sending shit. I ain't got time to be doing that. So they checking in on me like, sis, you good? What's up? What's going on? What's happening with Auntie? Okay, how's the COVID going? What's happening? How you feeling? Da 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 da. And they're doing a holistic wellness check-in on me. They asking me physically, how are you feeling? Emotionally, how are you feeling? Girl, what's your mind like? What you thinking about? What you been doing? How's your spirit going? What's going on? So that's the power of having a beautiful tribe, family. If you don't got one, do what you got to do to attract that shit. Okay, because my tribe has really, between my siblings, my friends, all the wellness community, shout out to the wellness community who's been sending love and light, and I'm getting so many DMs and private messages. The love has been real, and you need that. When you're dealing with trauma, you need that. Reading an encouraging message, somebody sending you a song, all of that, you need that. Okay, so yeah, that's that on that. All right. So that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. That's why I haven't been posting, because another thing is also, when you're dealing with trauma and you going through shit, you don't, it's not healthy to keep giving from an empty cup. It's not healthy to be giving from an empty cup. And thankfully my cup is not empty. But what's in my cup right now, I got to keep for me to be able to deal with what's going on with me. And then also, I got family that I got to give to. You know what I'm saying? Because we are all experiencing this shit. You know what I'm saying? My uncle right now, he's in the my uncle still is he's out of work because of the COVID, and he's still dealing with some symptoms from the COVID. As I said, he has asthma, so he's dealing with like chest congestion and all that. He went to the doctor just a couple days ago to get, some medicine and stuff. So I'm trying to make sure he's good. My siblings are good, So what's in my cup right now, I gotta hold on to. Okay, I gotta hold on to what's in my cup, which is healthy. We gotta know that. Family, you gotta be able to recognize that. You gotta don't wait till your cup get empty. Because when your cup gets empty, that's when your wellness really kind of spirals out of control and starts to go downhill. You gotta know when to stop, pause, check your cup, and say, okay, no, I gotta keep this. I gotta hold on to this. I need this. So I haven't been posted and I haven't been giving a lot of output because I gotta hold on to what's in my cup. All right. And the reason I'm doing this video right now is because Spirit told me to just pour this, because people need to know this. Learn something from this, family, please. Please learn something from this. Whether if it's the elders, whether if it's healing from trauma as trauma is happening, no matter what it is, learn something from this. Last lesson is I have not stopped giving gratitude. I have not stopped giving gratitude. A way that I deal with trauma as it's happening is I never lose sight of gratitude. I never lose sight of what I'm grateful for, down to the smallest things. Right now I'm grateful for that my health is being restored. My physical health is being restored. I'm grateful for the Zoom. that I was able to have the Zoom with my aunt, my siblings and I, that she was able to hear. My brother has a baby. He has a new baby. My brother got 3 kids, but he has a little baby. I'm saying she's new, but she ain't new. She's a toddler now, but he he got a baby, and she's talking so clearly now. So in the Zoom, she was like, "Hey, auntie," able to tell my auntie hey and stuff like that, and that's stuff that we know that would make my aunt's day to hear her little voice. So I'm grateful for things like that. Grateful that everybody is doing well. My brother is okay. My sister-in-law is okay. His children are okay. My sister is good. My sister is about to get, I'm telling your business, girl, but my sister about to get married tomorrow. That's another thing. My sister has a wedding. She's getting married tomorrow. So I'm on the phone with her yesterday, and she's shopping, and it's I'm grateful for what's happening that's good. And I'm never losing sight of that. My birthday was yesterday. I turned 30. Yeah, thriving 30s. My niece coined that term, my eldest niece. I was like, what am 30? I need a theme for 30. And I was naming different things. I'm like, I need a theme. And she was like, thriving 30s. And that, I said, girl, you know me. You know me, sis. My niece is everything. She's such a little diva. And that's my aunt calls her the glam girl. She's getting into makeup and all that stuff just like my aunt, so that to see her little beautiful growth, and she over here, I'm her aunt, and she talking about thriving 30s. I was like, you better give it to me, sis, so thriving 30s, I'm very grateful. Yes, Team Aquarius, shout out to all the Aquarius. But I'm very grateful for this journey. My 20s has been amazing. I've accomplished so much in my 20s. Bachelor's degree, master's degree, living abroad, traveling the world, starting a business, having a successful career as an educator, teaching hundreds of kids in the classroom, literally hundreds, probably over 1,000 kids in the classroom over the years. And transitioning out of that to growing a beautiful, successful business, growing an amazing YouTube channel with amazing people, who are locked in and who are growing with me, because this is all a part of my growth journey, and just, so many things. But above all, the physical manifestations, shout out to the wellness community, top of my list of things I'm grateful for my 20s. And all the lessons that I learned from my 20s. Early 20s, I was still a wild girl out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying? But the last time I went to jail was at 21. I'm keeping it a buck. Okay. The last time I went to jail was at 21. So that transition of starting my 20s as still hustling when I started my 20s, I was still selling weed. I was like Baby D and Next Friday. I was selling weed, doing hair, selling plates and all that out of my dorm in college. Okay. That was me. All right. And that was in college, selling plates. I used to make this bomb ass Kool-Aid. We used to call it crack. So I used to sell plates, sell Kool-Aid, do hair, and I was selling weed and all that shit out of my dorm, early college at 20. You know what I'm saying? And to go from there to where I am now, talk about some fucking growth. You feel me? Like, so I'm grateful for that whole journey of my 20s. You know what I'm saying? It's been beautiful. But thriving 30s is the theme. Thriving 30s is the theme. 20s, we grew, we moved forward, we built, we evolved. So many beautiful things have happened. 30s, we are thriving, we are popping, we are making it happen, and so much more is manifesting. So giving a lot of gratitude, very grateful, which, yes, shout out to the Aquarius. And that brings me to our wrap-up topic, which is this new moon in Aquarius that we got going on today, family. Okay? I love y'all so much. I'm honored to share. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to share my journey, and with the hopes that y'all are learning from this. Yo, I got the couch I got the couch. If you follow me on Instagram, my story a while ago, I posted a few couches. I didn't know which one to get. I wanted to get a couch, and I posted a few. And this one, out of the 3 I posted, this one got 80-something%. I did like a poll, 80-something%. I got the couch and these cute little these are pillow covers I got, y'all. Okay, I know everybody about to have these covers. Okay, but I gotta share because they so cute. This is velvet. $9 off Amazon. $9 per cover. Okay, $9, y'all, for that. They come in different sizes. This is the 18 by 18. $9. Okay, so y'all better get it, honey. You could type, I just type in like African throw pillow covers or something like that. $9. All right, so y'all get into it. Okay. Look at the detail. Look at that. Boom. Boom. $9, honey. Great quality. Velvet. Get into it, okay? Oh, and I got a package. I want to open this package. I got a package, y'all. I want to, before we get into the new moon in Aquarius, okay? I want to open this package. I've had this package for a while. I got it from my aunt's house when my aunt got sick, okay? And I told her I was going to open it and share with her. So I got to open this package. I know who it's from, but I'll give y'all more details, and I'll put the information in the bio. Oh, this is so cute. It's a package from a crystal company. They sell jewelry and like crystals and all that good stuff. An abundance card. Oh, it comes with a little abundance card, family. Abundance card. Keep this in your wallet to manifest abundance. You will manifest quicker if you say the affirmations out loud. The more you say these affirmations, the more you will manifest. Healing the earth one mind at a time. Her Instagram is inner crystallization. Inner crystallization. Inner crystallization. I am grateful is the mantra, is the manifestation. This is so cute. So a little manifestation card. Oh, it's some sage in here. Some sage. Oh, and it's wrapped too. I love this. Oh, it smells so good. I needed a new bundle of sage too. That's a blessing. Oh, she know me. She know Satya. Come on now, Tree of Life. She know me. She know me. These are my favorite incense. I just told y'all about these earlier. A little incense holder. So cute. So cute. I always love getting stuff from the family, y'all. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Wrapped in copper, a rose quartz. I know my rose quartz, y'all. I know my rose quartz. Oh, this is such a beautiful gift. Y'all, oh my gosh. Oh my God. Can y'all see that? Boom. Boom. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Oh, I love it. Everything just smells so good too. And a bag of crystals. Oh my goodness. Can y'all see it? Look, I got to do the YouTube hand. Y'all know the YouTube hand. Look. Yes. I love it. Oh, this is so cute. Inner crystallization is her Instagram. And there's more. Oh, this is heavy. There's more. Okay, where's my scissors again? So I can open this up. I love it, and it's black on. And she from Augusta, y'all. My aunt, when it came to my aunt's house, my aunt was like, you got a package from Augusta. You know, we got a lot of family. My family is from Augusta. So she was like, who in Augusta is sending you stuff? I was like, I don't know. Oh my God. Y'all. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is y'all, I'm in shock. Y'all know how expensive these are? Do you know how expensive these are? I'm in shock, y'all. Girl, thank you for the love, honey. I'm like, wow. Y'all. This is a selenite holder. You could put candles in here. You can put crystals in. Anything you desire, really, you can put in here. I'm stuck. You see me? I'm like, this is amazing. Inner crystallization, y'all. This is her. Y'all, I'm in shock. And there's more. There's something else, okay? Girl, you did this. Okay, you did this. There's a sticker in here. I am abundant. I am grateful. Oh my goodness. I'm shocked, y'all. What's so shocking about the selenite holders, I was just praying for that. I was saying, manifesting that. I was praying and saying that that was something that I wanted, and that's, I'm just like, see, the universe shows up and shows out. You put some energy out there and it's going to come. And I was looking at some online. I was like, oh, I think that's what's so, I'm like, the universe never ceases to amaze me. Okay, let me open up this one. Let's see what this is. Ah! Yeah! Look! Oh my gosh, this is a rose quartz one. Oh my goodness. Y'all. Y'all. Shipping costs a bundle on this package. That's why I'm like, girl, you did this. You did this. A rose quartz, honey. Honey, you did this. Inner crystallization, boo. Boo. Okay, listen, you did this. I'm gonna have to cut this part of the video. I'm gonna figure out something. Honey, you did this, honey. Okay, best physical birthday gift thus far. Best physical birthday gift thus far, honey. Where my sage at, girl? The sage that she got, honey. You did this, boo. You did this. My new moon in Aquarius is starting off right. My new moon in Aquarius is starting off right, girl. Come on, Jules. Come on, Jules. Come on, Crystals. Come on. Come on. Okay, new moon in Aquarius, y'all. New moon in Aquarius, y'all. Today, new moon in Aquarius, we have it peaked at, the crazy thing is, I always follow the Farmer's Almanac to see. The Farmer's Almanac was saying that it peaks at 2:08. It peaked at 2:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But some sites were saying like 4 something. There's another like a new moon, a moon phase site that I follow. That one was saying 4:48. Regardless, whatever. The new moon peaks today between 2 and 4 in Aquarius. And to think about a new moon, new moon is our time. It's a new cycle, a new moon cycle. And it's our time where we have the opportunity to set new intentions and manifestations for this new moon. Now, having a new moon in Aquarius means a lot because Aquarius, it's very airy. It's an air sign, contrary to popular belief. The Aquarius is the water bearer, but it's an air sign. So it's the water bearer. That's why you always see the woman pouring the water, or you'll see like the waves, the symbol of water. It's the water bearer, but it's an air sign. Air signs are very whimsical, very dreamy. They think big, okay? That's air signs. During this new moon, right, when we set our intentions and we're manifesting, dream big. Y'all hear my dog over here acting up? Do y'all hear him really acting up? And you see, I'm not giving no eye contact, all right? Because he's not getting no attention. But yes, air signs are very like whimsical and dreamy. So with this new moon in Aquarius, as we set our intentions and our new manifestations, you want to dream big. Allow your mind to go wherever it is that you desire. Okay, think big. Beyond measure. And that's one of my favorite mantras that I like. I am abundant beyond measure. I am powerful beyond measure. I am manifesting abundantly beyond measure. Add that beyond measure because it's like it's bigger than what you imagine, bigger than what you would ever dream, bigger than what you would ever think of. That's what beyond measure means for me. And this new moon in Aquarius is the perfect time to do that. The perfect time to have that. Yes, the selenite candle holder. Okay, and the rose quartz. Okay, I'm reading the comments, y'all. Sorry, but yes, that's what the new moon does, the new moon in Aquarius. So this is the time where you want to manifest and you want to dream, but dream big. So think about everything that you tried to manifest before, everything you have manifested in the past, things that you've written down in your journals, but go bigger. This is the time where you want to tap into that childhood self, tap into those childhood desires, tap into that your younger self. You know, as kids we dreamed big. We had all this huge imagination, but unfortunately life happens, and sometimes we lose that. Sometimes that some of that dissipates because we start life teaches us limitations. Life teaches us, oh, this is only what you can have because you're this and that. Or you're black, you're a black man, you're a black woman, you live in this community, or you didn't grow up with this and you didn't grow up with that. And so we start thinking of these limitations that we have, and you don't have to have those limitations. You know what I'm saying? Really go beyond that. Tap into your childhood self, that think big, that dream big. Get back to that, and manifest from that space during this time. So with a new moon in Aquarius, very dreamy. Don't be surprised if you feel yourself daydreaming a lot. Don't be surprised if you feel yourself imagining a lot. And then also we have Venus I believe Venus has moved into Aquarius as well, which when it comes to, Venus is the planet of love. So when it comes to your love life, when it comes to your romance, Valentine's Day is around the corner. Aquarius is perfect because, we have that dreamy, whimsical, very whimsical, airy romance. Now, this is the thing. Mercury is also in retrograde. Okay? Mercury is in retrograde. So I want y'all to be aware that you may have these big whimsical dreams, but the reality of where you are in life is going to try to make it seem like these things are not possible. So don't be surprised if your reality is starting to feel like an adverse or like an opponent of your dreams. Okay, so you may be thinking big, thinking of a lot of money. Y'all, he is over here acting up. Stop. He over here trying to knock over his water bowl so he could get attention. Okay? But yeah, so don't be surprised because the Mercury is in retrograde. Don't be surprised if your reality tries to make it seem like these dreams and desires are not possible. Don't be surprised if your reality tries to bring you out of the clouds. Okay? This is a time where, as opposed to being focused on being grounded and remaining grounded, this is the time to just enjoy being in the clouds for a while. This new moon in Aquarius is focused on just allow yourself to float and be free for a minute. Distraction, daydreaming, all of that is cool for right now. So just enjoy this time period, okay, family? Please really enjoy this time period. Don't allow the Mercury retrograde please go back and watch my video on retrogrades, because as I've explained in the past, retrogrades are simply an illusion. It's an illusion. So that's why I say make it seem like, because the thing with retrogrades is it's an illusion of what's happening. So it'll alter your emotional state, your feelings. It'll make it feel like things are not possible when they are in fact possible. It'll make it feel like shit is going downhill and things is working against you. It'll make it feel like, the things that you desire and that you manifest are not coming your way. It's an illusion, and you have to push through and push past that illusion. So recognize it as an illusion. Recognize that it's an illusion and just keep working forward and working through it. Okay? So new moon in Aquarius, Mercury in retrograde, that's how it's going to work together. You'll be in the clouds because of the new moon in Aquarius, very dreamy, very big, but your reality is going to try to snatch you down out them clouds. Don't allow it to happen. Push through. Orange moon, hey! Push through. It's been so long, Orange moon. I miss you. Virtual hugs. But yes, so that's what you want to be mindful of. Being in the clouds, reality trying to pull you out the clouds, snatch you out the clouds, but stay in there. Of course, with Aquarius, amethyst crystal. Let me pull out the amethyst. There's an amethyst stone in here. Yes! Amethyst crystal. Okay? Amethyst. So you want to have you some amethyst during this time. Amethyst or clear quartz is good for the new moon in Aquarius. So those are some crystals that you can keep close. Also in the spiritual bath, you could do some. You could do an indigo spiritual bath. Those are one of my favorite things to do with an Aquarius full moon or new moon. And this will be the only new moon in Aquarius for this year for 2021. There's normally two. So this will be the only one. So while you have this time, take a what I call an indigo spiritual bath. In that indigo spiritual bath, you can add anything that's indigo colored. Also add lavender, lavender essential oil or fresh lavender herbs. I do advise that you get one of those hair catchers, because people ask me like, how do you prevent the herbs from clogging up your pipes and stuff when you take a spiritual bath? I have one of those hair catchers things, and I got locks, so of course it ain't to catch hair, it's to catch the herbs. Okay, so put one of those down, or in your bathtub, before you let the water out. As soon as you go to drain the water, you can poke some holes in a paper towel and put a paper towel there and use that. And that way you can just wrap up the paper towel or newspaper, but newspaper can stay in the tub sometime. But wrap up the paper towel or newspaper, because it'll catch the herbs so that they don't go down in the drain. But lavender, rosemary, anything indigo, okay? Anything indigo. You can get some indigo cloth, some fresh indigo, but that'll also stain, but you can get that out with a little olive oil. If anything stains your bathtub, you can just rub it down in olive oil, let it sit, and then it'll wipe right off, okay? So you can use that as well. But yeah, so definitely spiritual bath. Keep your crystals close. Grab your amethyst or clear quartz. Do some Reiki on yourself. But this new moon in Aquarius is our whimsical, airy time. Dream. Y'all know my phone be dying. Okay, I'm on 20%, but I've been on here for an hour and a half. All right, so I don't want to hear it. All right, but yes, dream, daydream, focus, allow yourself to be free, to be open, and just go there and write it down. All of your deepest desires, write it down. All the whimsical, crazy, wild things that you want, write it down and watch it happen. Get you a purple candle or a white candle. Place those crazy, wild, whimsical dreams under a candle and light it and let it burn. Do some candle magic. Let it go. For my candle magic, I already started. But I got me a white candle. I sprinkled some lavender at the top of that thing and some rosemary at the top of that thing. And I added a couple pinches of pink Himalayan sea salt. And then around it, you put your coins, your offerings to your ancestors. So you put your coins and you put your fresh fruit and stuff like that. And under it, you have your desires, your dreams. So do your candle magic during this time and just really manifest wisely. A new moon is all about manifesting, okay? So definitely enjoy this new moon in Aquarius. Love on yourself during this time. And if you are going through anything, know for sure that there are people out here who feel you, who connect with you, who understand you, and who love you. I'm reading some of y'all questions. Does your power go out in the room when you light your candle? No, my power doesn't go out in the room when I light my candle. My power doesn't go out. So I see a couple times the question came up of how do I clean and charge my crystals. To clean my crystals, I do a multitude of things. So it just depends on what my spirit leads me to do. Some of my favorites are I will soak them in moon water. So for moon water during a new moon or a full moon, I'll put some purified water. Thank you so much, Rose from Concrete. I appreciate that donation. And thank y'all for the Cash App love. I'm seeing the notifications come through, like the text message come through. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. It's always appreciated and needed. Okay, I appreciate it. But yeah, so to clean my crystals, I'll put it in moon water. For moon water during the new moon or full moon, you can set out a jar. I use a glass jar. You can set out a glass jar of water, and you just sit it out there, and you at night, and you bring it in before the sun rises in the morning. Now the thing with bringing it in, or it's the thing with sitting it outside, is the moon does not have to be visibly present and shining down. A lot of people say like, oh, it's cloudy, we can't see the moon. It's about the energy. So you may not be able to see the moon, but the energy is present in there. Y'all, he is acting up. The energy is present in there. So you may not see it, but the energy is present. So know that sit the water out. You are charging the water. Drop your crystals in the water. After after your moon water is charged, drop your crystals in the water and let it soak in there. Of course, certain crystals cannot be soaked in water, like selenite is one of those. It cannot be soaked in water, okay? So you don't want to do that. So just basically research your crystal and see if it's water safe. And if it is, you can cleanse it in water. Afterwards, so I have a copper. You can get them off Amazon. I got mine from the bodega here, but it's a copper sponge. Okay, so I'll take a copper sponge and I like to rub my crystals down in a copper sponge. And then I will stick the crystal out under a new moon as well. So like tonight, I will definitely be sitting my crystals and my new crystals. So I'll be cleaning my new crystals. And then I will be sitting them out under the new moon. So that's the way that I like to charge my crystals. I also keep my crystals wrapped in copper. Y'all know I always keep my crystal pieces. You see, I always keep my crystals and stuff wrapped in copper. Copper is a catalyst, okay? So essentially what it does is it speeds up the effects of the energy in the crystal. That's why you'll see copper crystals wrapped in copper a lot. You see intercrystallization, my new rose quartz wrapped in copper, okay? So you'll see that a lot. Copper is a catalyst. So that's why I use a copper sponge and I'll rub down my crystal in the copper sponge. I wrap my crystals in copper, and that's what I do for that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Crystal Sapphire. Thank you for the donation. But yeah, so that's how I charge my crystals, sitting them out under the new moon, wrapping them in copper, and then also putting them on my altar. I put my crystals on my altar, like all my crystals are on my altar. And I ask the ancestors to cover them and keep them well. Sometimes I'll sit them on top of pink Himalayan salt. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. But I'll put them on top of pink Himalayan sea salt. Sometimes I'll do that as well. But there's a variety of ways. You really just got to do, you can put your herbs in a mesh bag, Oh yes, these mesh bags like this, I definitely reuse these bags. Sometimes I'll keep my crystals in here, especially if I want to, because herbs is another way that you can clean your crystals. If you have a crystal that you were using, because for example, like a clear quartz, right? A clear quartz is an energy cleanser. It also brings clarity. So if you are having a situation where, you are feeling down, you're feeling fogged, you have a lot of negative energy that's happening, you can use the clear quartz to clear your energy. But after that, you want to clean that clear quartz. You can put some rice, sea salt, and rosemary in a mesh bag like this and drop that clear quartz in there to cleanse it. So you could do that, close it up, sit it under a new moon, and cleanse that clear quartz. Or you can sit it on your altar. So that's one thing you can do. That's why these mesh bags are always good. And anytime, you can really use any bag. I have like velvet bags. You can use a Crown Royal bag, okay? Anything, Patron box, whatever you got, okay? Use that, But yes. That's another thing you can do, a herbal cleanse, moon water cleanse, the copper sponge is good, a sea salt cleanse, various ways to cleanse your crystals and to charge them, putting them on your altar, leaving them out under a new moon. I'm not a fan of leaving my crystals under for the bag. Rice, sea salt, rosemary to cleanse crystals. Rice, sea salt, rosemary to cleanse crystals. That's what goes in the bag. I'm not a fan of putting my crystals under a full moon. Okay, I'm just not a fan of that personally. The full moon is about release. So to clean my crystals, I'll clean my crystals under a full moon, but to charge my crystals, I don't really charge my crystals under a full moon like that, because once again, it's about a full moon is about release. When you're charging your crystals, you're receiving an energy. All right, so I prefer to charge my crystals under a new moon, and charging them with intention and stuff like that. So That's how I cleanse and care for my crystals. I posted a video as well about how to cleanse your copper, because sometimes the copper, over time period, your copper is gonna get dark. But a lot of copper mineral, which is like, you'll see like a green dust around your copper. A lot of copper mineral will build up, which the copper mineral is a good thing. Especially like for me, like when I keep a lot of copper and stuff on me, period. And when you have a fever, if you are sick, if you have infection in your body, your copper will start to release will start to release minerals to help clear out that infection or that disease in your body. So when I had a fever, I noticed that around where I keep copper, I was seeing a lot of the copper mineral build up around, like on my wrist, around my neck, everywhere that I keep copper. Copper mineral was there, which is a great thing. So that's why I always tell people, copper is a great energy reader, for your body. So keep copper on your body at all times if possible. Whether if it's an ankle bracelet, I don't care if it's a toe ring or something. And especially if you are not feeling well, you want to check that area where the copper is, because it'll tell you. Like for a lot of people, if you have a fever, all you got to do is boom, move that copper, and you'll know if you got a fever. If you have infection in your body, move that copper. You see a lot of copper mineral coming up, you got an infection in your body. So that copper mineral is really, really good. And that's the power of copper. I have a video though on how I cleanse my copper. To cleanse the copper, I also use a copper sponge. Get that copper sponge. It's excellent. You can get it again off Amazon. If you live in a city somewhere, they sell it all in the bodegas and stuff like that. A lot of bodegas have it. But get the copper mineral, the copper sponge, excuse me, if you can, because it'll get some of that copper mineral off and just restore your copper as a whole. Yes, you can charge your plants with your crystals, but you can also charge your crystals in your plants. Cleanse your crystal first and then put them in your plants. That's always cleanse your crystal first before you put your crystals in your plants, okay? Because you don't want your plants to hold that energy of what you're trying to release from your crystal. So cleanse your crystal first and then put your crystals in your plants. And then before you use your crystals, period, you should definitely just cleanse your crystals. All right. Where do I get my jewelry from? A lot of I make it. So I made my rings, my necklace, all that stuff. I make all this stuff. I made it. I'm not selling it. I don't sell it right now. People been asking me that for years. I don't sell it. I make it. But you have companies like Crystallization who just sent me this beautiful piece, who also, make crystal jewelry, and they sell it. So check her out on Instagram, Crystallization. If you want crystal, and this is, let me tell y'all something. I spoke about this before, but I'm not a fan of what I call treated crystals or processed crystals. So a lot of the times that's the crystals that you'll find, in no shade, but this is one where you'll see that it's polished, it's sanded down and polished, it's smoothed out, shiny. The most powerful stones are the raw stones. So you see like this, where it's rough, it's not all shiny and pretty and polished out. Those are my favorites because it's raw crystal. So I advise that yes, the new moon is today. It peaks today, but you have up to 3 days after the new moon. I advise that you always get the raw crystals, all right? Don't go for the shiny, pretty, that's cute, but it's been treated, it's been sanded, it's been polished down in order to get it that pretty, shiny, finished look. You don't want to do that. Always go for the raw crystal. So like every crystal that I have on my body or that I keep on my person right now, it's all raw crystals. I still will use the polished pretty crystals, but my favorites are the raw crystals. When I'm doing my work, when I'm doing my work, it's always dealing with raw crystals only. Okay, so I advise that. What about a crystal wand? I love a good crystal wand. Made from raw crystal? I love a good crystal wand. Can you charge without the moon and the sun? Yes, you can charge your crystals without moon and sun. As I said, you could use the herbs. You could put them on your altar and all that. Does the salt matter? Pink Himalayan sea salt is the salt that I prefer. Or you could use white sea salt, but I always prefer pink Himalayan sea salt. Thank you so much, Orange Moon. I appreciate that birthday love. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can you answer the break question, please? Because I'm starting to think I'm doing something wrong. What's the break question? Did one of your crystals break? If one of your crystals broke, I don't want to answer that question, and that's not your question. So if you could just put that question, I think that was Rose from Concrete who asked that. If the is what's the question about the the break thing? Do you use pendulum? Yes, I use pendulum. What are your thoughts on using them? Yes, I use pendulum. I was blessed into doing pendulum work by one of my elders, and taught all about pendulums and stuff and pendulum work by one of my elders. I actually have my pendulum. I'm not gonna hold it up right here, but I have my pendulum that I use when I do readings. That's right here, and that's also it's. I have a few pendulums, but my favorite is my raw citrine crystal pendulum, and it's on copper as well. Pendulum work is excellent because I usually only use pendulums to answer yes or no questions. But then, if you have spiritual gifts, I will ask spirit why or why not, and communicate the details of the why or why not with using my natural spiritual gifts. But it's great for yes or no questions. How you do pendulum readings is all up to you, and it's between you and your spirit guides and how they choose to use the pendulum. I've seen people do it a variety of ways, where if it's still, it means yes. If it twirls in circles, it means no. If it goes back and forth, that's I don't know. People have different ways and different meanings of how it's done, so it's not a one note method. Okay, it's not a one note method on how what means what. So if it shakes, it's no, or if it twirls, it's yes, or it's not a one note method. So that's between you and your spirit guides. But I do use pendulum. It has always been effective for me. I do readings on myself, so I use it for myself, and I also use it for clients. I highly recommend pendulum work. All my pendulums are given to me by my elders. A lot of my stuff that I use for like spiritual work, especially like pendulums and like tarot cards, anything like that, is usually gifted down from my elders. So I can't really tell you like where to get pendulums and stuff like that. I can't answer that one. Okay, so Rose from Concrete, you said yes, one broke. So one of your crystals broke. What does that mean? It depends on how it broke, when it broke. So if you are holding a crystal and your crystal cracks, right? Really, it's just about self-assessing what's going on. First off, what's the crystal? What does the crystal represent? When the crystal broke, what was happening? Now, if you dropped your crystal and it broke, that's a common, we can't overthink that situation. Okay, if you dropped a crystal and the crystal broke, we can't overthink that. If you keep dropping your crystal and your crystal breaks, you can't overthink that. If you dropped your crystal 5 times and your crystal cracked and then one day it was sitting there and it broke, that's a natural occurrence. We have to remember that crystal is a stone, okay? And it's a stone that's in repeated layer. So that's what's the difference between a crystal and a regular rock, all right? But a crystal... Okay, you see this little piece of light keep on shining right here. Should I go into this? But with a crystal, it's a repeated pattern. Okay, so if you drop a crystal, if you keep dropping a crystal and it cracks, you're breaking that crack is breaking that repeated pattern. So if there's a lot of humidity in the room or it's hot, that crystal will sit there and it will just crack by itself because it's been dropped so many times. All right, so that's just how that works. So ask yourself, like, have I dropped this crystal multiple times? Did this crystal already have a crack in it? Did I drop it and cause a crack and it sat there and it broke? All of that is natural occurrences. That doesn't mean that it's spirit, that it's a stone. So this naturally happens with a stone, okay? So just be mindful of that. Now, if you never dropped the crystal, if nothing ever happened to the crystal, and you was holding it and it broke, or it just sat there and it broke, spirit is communicating something. Ask yourself, what does this crystal mean? What was happening when it broke? And it breaking is a huge sign, normally from spirit. A crystal breaking, I'll give an example, like a rose quartz, right? Rose quartz represent love. So that crystal is sitting there. It's never been dropped. Nothing happened. Nobody was touching it. The temperature in the room is fine. And then all of a sudden, boom, that crystal breaks or cracks. It's a sign that there's something going on in that relationship. So as the elders say, something in the milk ain't clean. Okay? It's a sign that something in the milk ain't clean. So just be mindful of that. All right? Be mindful of that. So Once again, if nothing has ever happened to the crystal and the crystal breaks or cracks, then yes, that's spirit communicating. Ask yourself, what does this crystal represent and what warning sign are they trying to give me? But if you've dropped the crystal multiple times, the crystal had a crack in it. A crystal is a repeated pattern. That's what makes it powerful. If you keep dropping it and it causes a crack, it breaks that repeated pattern. It's going to, especially if it's in a humid room, it's going to break over time. What about waist speeds breaking? Once again, we don't want to overthink it. If your waist speeds break, if you've been moving around a lot, you've been sleeping rough, you've been, having activities, and somebody been pulling on them waist speeds, you feel me? Okay. There's multiple things that could cause waist speeds to break. If your waist speeds basically have been going through a lot of things, all right, and those waist speeds break, of course, that's normal. But if nothing has been happening, you've been on your normal routine, you haven't been wearing anything extremely tight that's causing tension on the waist beads, and the waist beads break, what crystals or what beads are on the waist beads? What do they represent? That's a sign. The breaking of anything, the natural breaking of anything is a warning sign from spirit. So like mirrors cracking, pictures breaking, like picture frames breaking. That's a warning sign from spirit. They're giving you a sign. Emily Rice, the IG page for, so my crystal necklace that I'm wearing, my stuff that I'm wearing, I make myself. For this one that was gifted to me, the IG page is Inner Crystallization. Inner Crystallization is the IG page for this one that was gifted to me. Okay, Inner Crystallization. And she from Augusta. Okay, shout out to the 706. But yes, so that the breaking of anything is a sign from spirit. That's what you want to be mindful of. But once again, don't overthink it. Ask yourself, has this item been through a lot? Like somebody told me, I was working with a client, and she was like, my pictures keep falling off my wall. My pictures keep falling off my wall. And I'm like, sis, all the pictures? She like, yeah. What are you using to hang up your pictures? Are they up there secure? Have they fallen before? Like if your pictures are not well hung, then of course they're going to keep falling. You know what I'm saying? People, my candles keep burning out real fast. What temperature is your house on? 82? It's hot as hell in there. Your candles are gonna keep burning out quickly. My candles aren't burning evenly. What temperature is your house on? It's 65. If it's too cold in your house, your wax on your candle is not gonna melt evenly. Candles melt evenly at a temperature of about a room temperature of about 72 degrees. Okay, so these are things. If you want to know whether if it's spirit or you're bugging and it's just natural occurrence of what's going on in the household, these are all things you got to pay attention to. Are the pictures well hung? Have your waist beads going through a lot of stuff? Have you kept dropping your crystals? All of that stuff. Sometimes it's not spirit communicating with you. It's just shit is happening. Okay, your candles ain't burning evenly. What's the temperature in your household? Do you have it on a leveled space? Where is it placed in your house? Is it at a high altitude? Is it at a low altitude? Usually candles that are at a lower altitude, they burn differently. Okay, so and there's usually a lot of soot around the jar for candles that are at a lower altitude because it's at a cooler temperature at a lower altitude. So if you put them in a higher space in your house where heat rises, you may not see as much soot in the jar, and also the candle may burn more evenly. You got to take into account life. So don't immediately write it off as like, oh, spirit is communicating. In order to know for sure spirit is communicating, you got to tune out all of the natural life occurrences. All right. Sometimes it's just shit that we be doing. You know, and when I was early in my spiritual journey, I was overthinking like that too. So you ain't dumb, you ain't crazy, you ain't doing nothing that don't nobody else do. I was overthinking like that too, and my elders had to be like, baby, relax, you know, come on now. I'm like, oh, I felt a little breeze. Is that spirit? They like, girl, the window open, you know. Relax. Like stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like it's okay, it's regular, you know. Even like with that, like all right, you know, Miss Yabara put 111, right? So even somebody had asked me about that in the chat, y'all. I just put oil in my locks. That's why I have this hat on, because so if I when I oil my locks, it'll run down on my face. I know I have very sensitive skin. It'll cause my skin to break out. So I'll be, but this is the thing, right? So like even with the times, where it's like, you know, in the group chat, some in the wellness community group chat, somebody was like, well, I keep seeing the clock and it keeps saying this time, this time, this time. And I'm like, well, when you become aware of numerology, right? When a lot of people become aware of numerology and numbers, they immediately start paying more attention to the clock. Yeah, you keep on looking at the clock and it say 4:44 or 5:55 or 10:10, 11:11, because before you was aware of numerology, you probably looked at the clock twice a day. You probably look at the clock twice a day, but now that you are aware of numerology, you always looking at the clock. You always paying attention to the calendar and adding shit up and all of that. So it's not so much that spirit is communicating, it's just that now you are more aware, which is not a negative thing. Again, you are just more aware. You know, Amazon, $9, $9.97, Amazon, okay? Type it in. Thank you, Crystal Williams. Amazon. But yes, so it's and that's cool. You know, early in your spiritual journey, that's natural. These are natural things. So I don't want you to feel bad about it. You're still early. You're still, you know, young in your spiritual journey. You're excited. But it's just these are things to be aware of, because you don't want to start overthinking, is this spirit? Is this spirit? Because then you start overthinking life and you start moving out of natural occurrence, which can fuck up your manifestations. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I be telling people, like, take your time, slow down. These are things that the elders told me, slow down, because you don't want to start working against your natural manifestations. The universe is conspiring in your favor. And if you become too aware and too focused on, is this spirit, is the universe trying to tell me something, da, 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 sometimes you'll work against them and not even realize it. Okay? You know, just think about that. Can you recommend a good meditation channel? Honestly, I don't have a good meditation channel that I can recommend. Um, I don't like watch a specific person for meditate. Oh no, I could say Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. I type in people. So people that I like to meditate with, Thich Nhat Hanh. I like to do breath work with Wim Hof. You could type in Black Girls in Meditation. The name is slipping me right now, but it's a sister who comes up who has like a lot of good guided meditations. I put her in the wellness community group chat before, and I put her in one of the newsletters as well a while ago. Her name is slipping me right now, but you know, absolutely. Rose from Concrete said, I always try not to overthink unless something happens 3 times consistently. That's a fact. If it happens 3 times consistently, that's confirmation from spirit. But yeah, you know, so I can't really recommend a good meditation